It is approaching 10 o'clock. We do have a quorum, and we will go ahead and call this Commissioners Court to order at 10 o'clock, right precisely on time. Ask Deacon Michael Williams from St. Paul's Episcopal Church to please pray for guidance. And if you would, please stand.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we ask you to watch over those that oversee Cooke County. We ask you to keep our leaders honest and enable us to eliminate poverty, prejudice, and oppression, that peace may prevail with righteousness and justice with order, and that men and women from different cultures and with different talents may find with one another the fulfillment of their humanity, and protect all those who serve in positions in the EMS field as they do their duties in the community. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. And Commissioner Arndt, if you would, items number 3 and 4 are pledges.
The American flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our great state of Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Item number 5, I assume, maybe incorrectly, everyone is here to speak on an agenda item, and if you will, we'll hold your comments until the agenda item comes up. Is there anyone that would like to speak on anything non-agenda that has signed up? Okay, no action. Item number 5. Item number 6 is the consent agenda, and the consent agenda includes non-controversial and routine items that the court may act on with one single vote. The judge or a commissioner may pull any item from the consent agenda in order that the court discuss and act upon it individually as part of the regular agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda, Commissioner Snuggs.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. The consent agenda passes 5-0. Item number 7, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Treasurer's monthly report for June 2024.
I'd help you, but I'm scared. Scared you'd lose it.
Anita, is this your first?
Second action.
But your first official, or?
Meeting?
Yeah.
Second.
Second, okay. What do you have to report, if anything?
Nothing specific.
Okay. Well, in that case, I make the motion that we accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 7 passes 5-0. Item number 8, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the treasurer's quarterly report for April through June of 2024.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Arndt moves to approve the quarterly report. Second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Quarterly report passes 5-0. Item number 9, open a public hearing regarding a request by Frederick P. Cummings for specific use permit for a new wine production facility at Edge of the Lake Vineyard located at 920 County Road 231, Valley View. And we'll open that hearing at 10:05. Do we have anyone that wishes to speak to this? I kind of suspected we might. We'll just take you in order. Diane, if you would. And would you please speak into the mic and identify yourself?
Sure. I'm Diane Staley, and I live on Lone Oak Road in Valley View, Texas. Good morning. It's nice to see you all again. It's been a while. An overwhelming number of people in the Lake Ray Roberts zoning are very concerned what Chris at the edge of the Lake Vineyard is trying to push through. We are embracing a challenge today for people like Chris to understand that our planning and zoning regulations are put there for a reason. Many of us spent hours helping write these regulations with the assistance of Freeze and Nichols, whom the county paid for. I have been up here for over 45 years, and I have seen most of the people in the Lake Ray Roberts area have respect for the rules and the regulations. You will probably hear from some today that Chris and his winery have donated a lot of money to the town of Valley View, and he is a real supporter. The people I know in the Lake Ray Roberts area are extreme supporters. But the difference is they also support in doing the right thing and following the rules and the regulations. Chris has not. He has, as the last meeting, he has not submitted a legitimate site plan. It's been just a drawing. He has been spoken to by the Corps numerous times about the tearing down of all the trees along the shoreline, removing the Corps fence, and letting boats pull up and park, and individuals coming up to drink wine. This is a concern because there is no respect for the rules. And he has set an example of what they could do in the future by not caring. The wine production facility they are trying to push through with a SUP, and a SUP is described in section 8.08, goes against the implementations of the comprehensive plan in section 1.03. It all boils down to this SUP they are requesting. It does not fit this rural area on County Road 231. These property owners all have rural property and are against commercial property going into this rural area. There are no other wineries in this area that have a production facility like these people are requesting. It needs to be put in a commercial area where it belongs. Commissioners, we appreciate the fact that we have volunteers to be on the Planning and Zoning Board, but you should not be on the board if you have not read extensively the planning and zoning regulations and understand them completely. You should especially not vote. You should not be on the board when a resident is speaking about the issue and you're looking down at your phone, not taking in what the person has to say. You can verify this action by our Commissioner, Jason Snuggs. Why would you even take their vote seriously? We are embracing a challenge here, and you all are our rock. And we depend on you. We claim the truth about what is happening here and want this community to prosper in a good way by following the rules. Please, commissioners, continue to surround this area like a shield. Right now, we are trying to heal this area from the devastating tornado. But we are here today, for people to do the right thing for the Lake Ray Roberts area. You as county commissioners can say no to this request of a SUP to protect this area and to follow the rules. Thank you.
Thank you. Just one comment, if you don't mind. I suppose there's several of you that would like to speak today. make sure and keep any personal comments out of, unless absolutely necessary to prove a point or something like that. Try to keep personal comments out of this. We'll go ahead and try to hear everybody this way. And it's going to get contentious anyway, I suspect. So if you don't mind, let's you know what I mean. Okay, who's next? Would you please identify yourself? Okay.
My name is Kim Ross. I live at 15076 South FM 372 in the little 1948 farmhouse, original farmhouse on 4 acres. And I moved to Texas from Alaska about 12 years ago, and it was an interesting situation. I hauled my horses down the Alcan Highway for a horse show, and it took me 3 weeks and over 5,000 miles, and I ended up never going back home. I loved Texas. It was like Alaska, freedom to do what you wanted to do, and I felt like I had the sunshine along with it. So I had 3 horses on my property, and I had great fencing. It was the epitome of everything I wanted to do. And what happened is, I didn't know until my first week on the property that my next door neighbor had a pit bull rescue operation going on in her double-car garage and the first floor of her house. For the next 4 years, I was never able to use my property because the fencing could not keep those dogs away from the pit bulls away from my dogs and horses, and it was not safe for me to use my land. So one of my neighbors, who happens to be a state trooper also, and a couple other neighbors, we took the woman that had the pit bull rescue operation to court. It took 3.5 years to go through the process, and we won because it was completely, that her business was completely outside the parameters of the regulations for the Lake Ray Roberts area, pure and simple. So when this issue started happening, and we've been to many local meetings at the little church across the road, and just filled every venue to where there wasn't a seat to be had and standing room only. And the whole neighborhoods, the whole area support or do not support this venue expanding. It was okay. It met the regulations in the beginning when they started the vineyard under agricultural, but it does not meet anything close to the project that they're expanding and want to build. And it's as simple as that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Who's next? Oh,
PJ Allschuler, who lives on Hemming Road, is still at the doctor's, and she wanted me to read her note to you all.
Who's it from, Diane?
just repeat her name if you don't mind.
Repeat my name?
No,
No,
her,
no.
Oh, her name, yes. PJ Altschuler. She lives on Hemming Road, 2900 Hemming Road. Commissioners, as a local property owner and resident of the Lake Ray Roberts community in Valley View, Texas, I am writing to express my strong opposition to the granting of a specific use permit for a wine production facility and parking lot spanning approximately 16,000 square feet. This proposed commercial development is incompatible with the existing land use and goes against the original intent of the zoning plan adopted on March 11, 2019. The zoning plan specifically allowed for agricultural use on parcels of 10 acres or more. However, a 16,000 square foot production facility and associated parking lot do not align with agricultural purposes. Instead, they disrupt the rural character of our community, which primarily consists of farms, livestock, and residential properties. I am aware that this proposal may be an attempt to revisit the previously disapproved wedding venue and hotel project. Nevertheless, I urge the Commissioners Court to uphold the integrity of the zoning map and adhere to the spirit of the regulations set forth in March 2019. Allowing this commercial property would undermine the harmony of our neighborhood and compromise the quality of life for existing residents. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I trust that you will consider the best interest of our community when making your decision. P.J. Altshuler.
Thank you, Diane. Who is next?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Laura McMullen. I am a resident of Valley View, Cooke County. I also own commercial property as well as agricultural property mostly in the Ray Roberts P&Z. Just a couple of notes that I have here. On September 8th of 2020, the Planning and Zoning Committee, followed by the Commissioners Court, voted to change 35 acres from 3100 East FM 922 from agricultural to commercial. It's now Lake Point RV. It's on FM 922, which backs up to the lake. That happened in less than 2 weeks. Why is this company, Edge of the Lake Winery, having to fight so hard for their business and for their dreams and for the vision that they have for their 100 acres that's also on Lake Ray Roberts? It seems like a personal attack. I've heard Chris's name mentioned individually, not as a whole entity as far as Edge of the Lake business and winery goes. And I think that's sad. As a business owner, I depend on other businesses for my well-being and to put food on my table. This business in particular has helped many businesses in this area. And if we're going to use personal names, Chris also helped Gainesville with their first wine walk, which happened to get, is Bob here? No. Which happened to get you Land and Winery right here on the corner. So it's a trickle down or a trickle up effect, however you want to look at it. On page 47 of the comprehensive plan of the Lake Ray Roberts Zoning Commission is a beautiful picture of the future land use and what would be fit. That's a picture of what future land use was seen for the lake. Also on that page, it says that non-residential uses should have a minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet, that it should be along highways and major roads, and it should have appropriate amount of parking. But it also says that there's undeveloped areas that should be addressed, and that shows a picture of what looks to me like a restaurant or a patio next to a lake, and it looks beautiful. It looks like a place I'd like to visit, hang out, and spend some money. So that was what was seen as a future use. I think it's the perfect fit. Also, the definition of agribusiness can be defined as the sum total of all operations involved in the manufacture, excuse me, and distribution of farm supplies, production operations on the farm, and the storage, processing, and distribution of farm commodities and items made from them. That would be a winery. It 100% falls under an agribusiness, and they are granted rights by the state of Texas, by our agricultural commissioner, Sid Miller, and they have the right to conduct this business on their property using any advanced technology that they, by any means that they can. So in my opinion, this production facility not only falls under their rights, but it is the perfect fit for the use of this area. The existing winery that's there is a way for many people to come and enjoy the beautiful property that the Cummings family owns and has owned for many decades, and has developed into a gorgeous place for people that don't live on the water like myself to visit and enjoy the gorgeous area there. It has nothing to do with the personal background of a person, whether they've gotten a speeding ticket, cut down a tree, or whatever else. It has to do with the facts and the laws that are granted to them and the rights that they have as a business to farm that land. It also has nothing to do with the fact that on May 26th, that business closed and donated their time, money, water tanks, multiple supplies to the members of our community for tornado and disaster relief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christopher McIntosh. I've been referenced a couple times here, so I'm not going to say very much. I do want to focus on what this is about. There's been comments being made, and I'm sure comments will follow trying to muddy what this court hearing is about. This is strictly about our building and getting permission to build our production facility. Nothing else. We're not talking about any previous proposals. We're not talking about future plans. We're talking strictly about what is my protected right by the Texas Department of Agriculture to produce, store, facilitate, sell our agricultural product. It's not beyond me that some people do not respect it as an agricultural product, but that's not this court or these people's decision to make. That's already been outlined by the Texas Department of Agriculture. I wish we had like a fact checker maybe in here as things are being said, because 16,000 square feet is bigger than what was proposed, number one. Number two, it's less than 0.4 acres is the amount of square footage takes up. So little things like that. I'm not going to defend lies or things that muddy out what this is really about. This is strictly about our production facility, that alone, not any involvement I had with the Corps of Engineers, not any involvement with boats pulling up to my property, which I have no control over because they're pulling up to Corps land. So I just want to keep it on pace, that's all, okay? And I appreciate you guys and your time, all right?
Thank you.
Mike Mason, who was out of town, did not make it. He sent his letter. Mike Mason, who lives on Hemming Road. He says, please express my family's and my neighbors' sentiments regarding the commercial expansion of the winery. This type of expansion spoils the rural character of the lake. The building is visually incompatible with the rural agricultural setting. I can't imagine the detrimental impact on the adjacent properties. Traffic is already increasing month over month. Traffic and noise before, during, and after an event just can't be good for the area. The overwhelming majority of the folks do not want commercial property in this rural setting. Please keep these type developments around the interstate. Thank you and best regards, Mike Mason.
Thank you, Diane. Who is next? Debbie.
I'm Debbie Streebig, and I live across from the property. A couple things to begin with. I've been up here a couple times talking to the County Commissioner's Court about my concern that the county does not follow their own rules and regulations on the applications. This project did not turn in a site plan with their application, which is required. Part of the reason was I was told it was an agricultural building, so I called the state of Texas and talked to the Department of Agriculture. They consider all wines agricultural properties. they consider the buildings on the wineries, because they have walk-up traffic, serve the public, and charge for these things. A lot of the production facilities charge for tours. The tasting room charges. The tasting room has half-price wine deals on some nights, stuff like that. They consider those buildings as commercial, as they would if the winery has a bed and breakfast or if the winery has a meeting room. Those buildings are all considered commercial buildings. Under that designation, the application for this project required a site plan. It is very specific in the specific use regulations that the county has exactly what the site plan requires. There's a definition in the zoning, planning and zoning rules saying what it requires, which is drainage, utilities, size of building, and it has to be to scale. And it has to be filed where before the public hearings, people that are interested parties have a chance to go look at the application, look at the site plan to see what is being planned, and form their own opinion prior to the planning and zoning meeting. The planning and zoning meeting on this particular project was a problem because everybody there was told at the beginning of the meeting that this production facility and this tasting room was required for them, or was allowed for them to have on their property because of their Texas winery permit allows a tasting room and a production facility. I talked to the head of compliance with the TABC in Arlington. He said there is nothing in their regulations that states that the production facility and the tasting room are on the property with the winery if the local regulations don't allow it. It does not say they have to have a tasting room and a production facility on their property. A lot of wineries have their tasting rooms in Valley View, Texas, for instance, like Firelight, but there's no regulation that says just because you have a winery permit, you're allowed to have a production facility and tasting room on the land if the local zoning does not allow it or is not compatible. The site plans have a lot of things that are specific to them, and in the specific use permit and the site plans, it says 3 different times to promote the vision established by the Lake Comprehensive Plan. The Lake Comprehensive Plan was put in place to begin with. The zoning regulations were written to support the comprehensive plan. That's basically the way it is everywhere in Texas, whether you're a county or a city or a municipal or whatever. You have to have a comprehensive plan before you can have a zoning regulations. So that was written in there several times. And one of the things on the site plan that you have to have is it identifies and addresses the environmental concerns, floodplain, drainage, trees, topography, promote public health, safety, and welfare. That all has to be written in there on the site plan. The site plan has to be. And I spoke at that planning and zoning meeting, and I was very concerned with all this because we had a meeting that didn't have the correct information, and it says in the regulations for the zoning that this stuff has to be filed, it has to be looked through by the county, and it has to be all the T's crossed and I's dotted. And without that application having the correct site plan, it was an inaccurate application. Should never made it to planning and zoning by the regulations of the Cooke County zoning regulations. That's why we have regulations, and they're supposed to be followed. And the whole premise in all of these SUP things is that it has to go through the pre-planning application process, has to be shown to the people important that have say on the particular parts before it's ever made to the planning and zoning. If it's an incomplete application, it needs to be returned to the applicant, and they're given 10 days to complete the application with what they need. This was not done. And I'm just asking the county commissioners again to please fix the problems with the specific use permits. Specific use permits are not to be made to get around zoning. They are supposed to be used in the zoning area. They're supposed to fit the zoning. But they need more guidance is what the rules say. But my thing is the application needs to be refiled containing the proper site plan, including building diagrams and dimensions, surface improvements, water consumption, and utilities, and other mitigating factors possibly affecting the area. There is no decision that can be made using the current information that has been turned in with the application and made available for all party review. All the Lake Ray Roberts zoning laws need to be followed as stated by the county on all future applications before those applications are allowed to come to the Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning. That's all I have to say. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, David. Anybody else?
Kim Ross. Kim Ross.
Judge, how long are we
Hang
gonna
on
do
just a
that?
second.
How long are we gonna do that? She could have 15 people here.
This is my last one.
Last one, okay.
No offense, Diane, but
Well, right after,
I was thinking
go right ahead. Identify.
My name is Kevin Norris, and I'm the one that lives across the road from this proposal. To say that I'm going to be impacted is an understatement. With the exception of the winery, I don't think anybody in this room would want to 16. We really don't know. The 4-point-acre thing is the first time I've ever heard of it, and it kind of goes into the line of Deb's thing about there's no specifics, you know, it's all kind of vague. We don't even know what to argue. But anyway, it'll be across the road from me. I'll be eyeball to eyeball with it. As Deb said before, there's the increased traffic already. This is going to bring more people out there. The last meeting, they were comparing my barn with theirs. The difference is my barn draws 2 people a year. Theirs draws maybe 100 a day. It is not compatible. I agree with the site plan stuff. We didn't know, I still don't know how many square feet it's going to be. It was still kind of vague. He said considerably less. What does that mean? 0.4 acre, 0.4 of an acre. That's the first time I've ever heard of that, which all that information would have been supplied to me on the site plan. That's about it. It's just not a good feel for that area. It's kind of like the people that were on the shooting range that y'all voted down. You know, there was a gentleman in there said, if I'd have known that you were going to put a shooting range there, I wouldn't have bought my property. Well, this is the same way with me. If I'd have known 23 years ago that this was going to happen, I wouldn't have bought my property. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane?
I'm good.
You're not good?
No, I just didn't want to have 15 or 20 write-ins because everybody can text now and they'll keep you up here.
These people appreciated that because one was sick and one was out of town.
Okay.
And they were definitely, so, thank you.
But I'll decide who speaks and who doesn't speak. If you wish to go ahead and speak, you go right ahead.
Oh, I'm good.
Oh, you're good. Anybody else?
I just asked the question, Judge. I'm glad you were allowed to make the decision.
Item number 9 is to open, item number 9 we've already done. Item number 10 is to close the public hearing at 10:33. Item number 11, deliberate and consider possible action regarding request by Frederick P. Cummings for specific use permit for a new wine production facility at Edge of the Lake Vineyard located at 920 County Road 230 Valley View. Jason, you want to hold on with that?
I'm going home.
You're what?
I'm going home.
Going home?
Yeah.
All right, don't blame him.
Oh, so I know where to start. We do have an issue with this.
Before you say anything, let me ask this question here. Do you think we're ready to make a decision today?
The only issue that I have is we do not have a site plan that's that's good, and I was gonna ask Chris, well, I talked to Chris about the size of it, and he did tell me the building was 14,000 foot, but the drawing that we have doesn't say any of that. So whenever the P and Z approved it, they had a few caveats with it too. Kathy, you know those off the top of your head? Because it's, what? Yeah.
He basically was just saying that all the information wasn't there when it went to the P and Z, is that right?
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I need to see the minutes from that meeting. The only concern is we do not have a site plan that shows everything. I was sitting here looking at it, and it's not to scale. So, and that's been, the thing that's been brought to my attention is the concern about the size of it. Mm-hmm. But I don't, and I addressed that concern with Mr. McIntosh. Immediately, I'm sorry, I'm reading, but I need to concentrate. Immediately, and he said, you know, a lot of wineries build a small production facility, which they're in now, and then they build another one, and then they build another one, they build another one, they build another one. He wanted to just build his all at once, was the reasoning for the size. But I don't, you know, per the rules, I don't have proper site plans for it. But in our P and Z, our county definitions for a winery, I'll read our definition for a winery. An agricultural processing plant used for the commercial purpose of processing grapes, other fruit products, or vegetables to produce wine or similar spirits. Processing includes wholesale sales, crushing, fermenting, blending, aging, storing, bottling, administrative office functions for the winery and warehousing. Retail sales and tasting facilities of the wine and related promotional items are included as part of the winery operations. So when our regulations were drawn, you know, this winery, this type of business was available by special use permit. And
When was that regulation?
2019.
2019. Is down the road from you, Robert Wolf's, is that still in operation, or that's long since gone? Okay.
What are you referring to, Judge?
Robert Wolf's.
The what? Oh, okay.
He's right next to us, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, their permit was bought by, now it's called Boston, their permit is now.
Okay, does he still live there? Or
Yes, he does.
He still lives there, but they just moved their
He just lives
operation?
there, yeah.
Okay. And that was there before our regulation was written in 2019? Just wanted to make sure it gets straight. But I think your concern is no site plan, and I would say we're really not ready to vote on this yet with that until we get a little bit more information. Do you agree with that?
In a way, I feel like my concern with some of the regulations, and forgive us, we had a workshop to talk about regulations, and then we had one, and then the tornado hit, so we've been just chasing our tails. But, you know, some of the earlier concerns were with, you know, having expensive site plans drawn if it wasn't gonna come into fruition. People wanted to be able to run it up the flagpole to see if it was gonna get passed before they spend, thousands of dollars on the official site plans.
But they,
And I think after, dealing with this business for one way or another over the last year and a few months, that, I can see where a business would be frustrated with the situation and not wanting to spend a bunch of money. But it does say in our regulations that we have to have a site plan, and that's,
well, if nothing else, if you just knew exactly how much area it would take.
Well, the regulations are written so that the application has the site plan because it's available for public viewing from the time that it's posted in the newspaper or wherever. It's so that the public can come and see what the building looks like, where it's going to be located, where the utilities are going to run, what the drainage plan is, so that they can make an educated decision whether they want to support it or not support it. And that's basically what it is. And there's never been anything turned in but artist conceptions. They're not to scale. They don't show any utilities. They don't show any drainage plan. They don't show what the parking lots are, if they're going to be concrete or if they're going to be dirt. All that affects drainage. And it affects drainage on all the neighbors. And the rules are the rules, and the rules should be followed. And there is a section in there that says if this application is not complete, people have to be notified in 10 days so they can make the corrections and get whatever they need to have the application complete, which gives the applicant time to fix it. If it wasn't meant to be used, it wouldn't be there.
and the caveat.
Okay.
What she's defining is real build plans. What you've been presented with is a site plan. When we go to get our build permits, that's when you go through the drainage, the parking, exactly what you're doing with the site. What you're wanting us to do is spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for something you're still gonna, yeah, it is, you don't know
Because
what
I've
it
got a
does.
survey that doesn't have where you're gonna build the building.
That the site plan does. That's what we presented in there.
Not the same.
It is the scale.
What is?
Okay, now my memory's jogged.
All right, let's tone it down just a little bit here.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I would not have known about this appeal had I not read about it in the paper. I know a lot of people,
This isn't an appeal.
or whatever. I would not have known about this meeting because I received no letter from the county. I just happened to see it in the paper. Jason's website does it in the afternoon on a Friday, and this is 10 o'clock Monday morning, most people have to work. So they're gonna have to contact their boss to try to get off to be here. There's a problem, and it's systemic. It's just like this. We're up here to argue against it. We don't really know what we're arguing against. There's
Well,
no specifics.
Let me just make this comment here. I don't think Jason has ever kept information from anyone as far as I know. What I'm saying is, if you were to stay on top of the situation, you wouldn't have to wait for the paper to come out with the information. If you'd called Jason a week ago, he probably could have updated you on what was going on. This isn't a criticism by any means, but if you're interested in what's going on here, keep bringing it back to us. If there's nothing going on, then that's the answer you'll get. But by the same token, if I meant what I said, but if for instance, we've known about this being an agenda item for how long now?
Since Wednesday.
Since Wednesday at least. So, if you just check from time to time, I think you can get all the information you need about what is going to happen, when, and that sort of thing. So,
On top of that, approvals from the P&Z board are gonna come up to us
yeah.
short time after they're approved. So the,
I think this all boils down to the rules are not being followed. We just want the rules followed. And also, I think the sub needs to be taken a look at, definitely. Because you open this up to them with a sub, you destroy us,
So
basically.
precedence is not set in zoning, so decisions can be made per sub. It doesn't change the future or mitigate from the past. It's all, each sub stands on its own. So we can approve A, B, C, and D, and letter E comes along 5 years later, we can deny that, or vice versa. It doesn't set any precedents to ruin the rules.
What doesn't change is the respect for the rules and regulations. And like I stated, we've worked for years.
There's nobody trying to go around the rules or the regulations here. And now that
We gotta get better.
my
Well,
memory has been jogged.
It's just, for this reason, I do not believe we're ready to make a decision today, okay? I believe that if you'll check back with us at intervals, let's put it that way, we'll come up with a new time to host this agenda item again, and maybe we'll be more prepared to, on both sides, okay, to state our position and what we need to do. And I believe we have another speaker right here.
I just wanted to say something about the comprehensive plan that was written back before 2020, and it does state that according to growth in the area, the population in the area, and it was projected in the comprehensive plan for 2022 that we'd be 43,000, we're almost to 50,000 population in Cook County. So, and it does say every 2 to 3 years that the Commissioner's Court can review and change things based on the growing population of this county. So, I think any part of our operation would bring jobs to Cook County for sure. We're already a commercial business in our tasting room that's existing as it is. I don't know, I think that people think that this is going to be a Coca-Cola plant or something with conveyor belts and forklifts and all of the things. It's not. It's a one-story, high-roof building that we make our wine in, that we're doing right now in a 3-car garage and in the living room sometimes. Like, it's frustrating. And then I also would like some clarification on the site plan. What do you need from us besides what we've already given?
Well, just to jog, I finally read the notes. So that meeting that night was right before the tornado. So forgive me for not remembering what was talked about that night. The P&Z sent it up with caveats, and Chris helped me remember. And I guess we should have talked about this prior to, but we've both been busy. We talked about y'all being willing for third-party inspections,
All that.
plan review, bring in an actual site plan, which we would need to just look at the regs and see what all we need to have in that. There were some other concerns that doesn't have anything to do with the P&Z that night.
I'll be happy to address that list then, of what we went over, because we're working with TCEQ engineers to design for all water use and everything like that. We're expecting to use some rainwater location for the winery itself. We have to work, because of the type of loan we're looking at through USDA and through NEPA, we have to have environmental quality studies done on every aspect of the winery and in of itself. I think I mentioned that night, we're looking at, there's a new product for, it's worm farming for solid waste that comes from the winery that goes into basically a worm farm in a shipping container and then turns sediment into poop so that we can use poop to fertilize the winery, right? All those things are regulated by third party, including our regulations by TTV, TAPC, TCEQ, everything are spraying regulations, everything is regulated by third party. We would contract that out to make sure we follow every aspect of that.
My main concern,
Justin, if I remember right, in P and Z, they gave an overlay on top of the site plan. And we sat there and we asked, we said, how do you not give an appropriate site plan where it describes what a site plan is supposed to have? Why is an overlay on a site plan acceptable? I don't understand.
I have the drawings that were from that night. I don't think it's an overlay. It just, the only thing is it just doesn't list dimensions.
We addressed that with James Reed, and I don't know how.
Yeah, in those deals, I don't have I don't have the minutes. I would have that in the minutes. But, my main deal is I don't want to not follow the rules at all. It's not my deal, so, I mean, I need to get with, but my only deal is I don't know what we're gonna approve. I mean, I don't know what we even base them on, because our rules don't tell us that. We can have the site plan and all that, but we don't have any other criteria beyond that. Does that make sense? I could have the most scale drawing site plan with every single ounce of info on it, and it doesn't say what our criteria are for approving it or disapproving it. This, so everybody knows, this is the first time any of this has come up in the P&Z. I talked to Debbie about that a while back. You know, we haven't ever had anything like this come up since these rules have been in place. So.
Jason, can I remind you of one other thing that they said in the planning and zoning?
Absolutely.
They were concerned about the size of the building and the 100 and some parking places, so they wanted the square footage of the tasting room and the square footage of the production facility divided by the amount of parking places it should have, which they said would be about 45. That was one of the conditions that planning and zoning was putting on their approval of that.
I know they put parking spaces they were concerned about it. One thing is, that's the same, I could have detailed map of every parking space and we don't have any criteria whether you approve this many parking spaces or you don't approve this many
No,
parking
I'm
spaces.
just saying that's what they wanted a condition on their approval to come to the planning, to come to the commissioners meeting. And I've tried to get the minutes, they haven't been signed, so they're not available.
Okay, so make a note, we need to get some minutes, please.
Well, we have another meeting.
Oh, because they have to approve, okay, that's what it is.
What's that?
So since there hasn't been another meeting, there haven't been any agenda items, the previous meeting minutes haven't been approved.
There you go.
So that's the reason for that.
You seem to have a pretty well organized group of people, as well as the winery side of the issue here. What I would like to see is perhaps someone from each side get together and look at, here's exactly what we propose, here's exactly the size, the utilization of the project, everything else, before we come back again. Are we really pressed for time on this project here? I mean, I know we don't want this to drag on forever and ever, but
About a year on it,
yeah, about that.
Well,
But we want to get it right too.
so actually, we've been talking about all of this for a year, but this one, they just brought it to us in May. It has been, we had some dates fall incorrectly for public notices and stuff, so it should have been here to us a little bit sooner, but, you know, that's the whole year of everything has been several different steps, some that were denied and a couple things that were approved. So the initial approval on the special use permit for the winery was just approved like in March. Yeah, okay. So not very long ago, and then they wanted to come and add on to this building, so this one was brought. That's been some of the misconception, and Chris is right, the waters have been muddied. I tried to ignore some of the social media stuff over the weekend, but I read it a while ago. The people are mixing in the wedding venue and the hotel and everything under today. This is just a hearing for approval from the P&Z from the end of May. And it doesn't have anything to do with wedding venues and hotels and boat ramps and something else. I read a bunch of stuff.
What we need to do is tell them exactly what we need for him to bring back to court. Be done with it.
In
One
the
way or the other.
drawings, there's nothing about drainage.
Yeah, there shouldn't be.
And so that was one of my stipulations that I was going to put in today is, and you know, it makes me feel good to know that with his loan being through agricultural federal loan, that he'll have to do it anyways. But I want to see the drainage study and the impact that it will put on the neighbors, because there are concerns right now and it's not anything that they've done, just the water's all coming from north to south right there and coming through them right now. You know, having a building on there is actually going to be another building will be a way to funnel the water into a more acceptable location anyways, but we need to know where it's going. And we need to know that the Corps doesn't have a problem with anything going on either, but I think that'll all be handled through TECQ with their septic permit and everything.
See, that's the point that I was trying to make. Go ahead.
So I thought that core part should have been taken care of already. I mean, all that should have been.
What was the first part?
Part with the core and all that, that should have been, I mean, isn't that what the whatever zoning?
No, so the zoning commission just looks at everything as a whole, and it gives a collective body down there to make a recommendation to us. They don't look into any
Core, I mean,
state
if it's
rules.
not on core property, does the core come in and intervene on any of that?
Probably a little bit because of the direct impact on the lake, because you can't be lakefront owners down there, but they're as close to the lake as you can get without, you know, they butt up to the core out there. So, but I don't, and again, those aren't things that Commissioners Court, we need to make sure they're being overseen, but those aren't things that we enforce.
See, that's the point I'm making right now, is the fact that we do not know, either side does not know enough to approve this one way or another today. There's just no way that can happen.
Now,
Go ahead, Judge.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No,
Judge.
go ahead.
And with, no, my logic has to do with appeals, so go ahead.
Okay. And a good point that Jason kind of touched on just now, there's other concerns other than just size and accessibility and one thing and another. There's like boats coming up from the lake and one thing and another. How many rules are, I see you shaking your head, but those are all legitimate things that have to be answered before we can legitimately.
Like you said, Judge, that's something he can't control. We can't control that. That's core land. They can drive anywhere on that lake they want. They can park anywhere they want. We can't.
Okay, but if you'll let me finish, okay? We're not controlling whether the boats can come or go or whatever. What we're here to do today is to approve something, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not controlled, how can we approve it? If it's still a question, how can we approve it?
And how do we approve any of it? Because we cannot control anything that goes on the lake.
That's my point, okay?
Well,
We
we've been
cannot.
approving it all. Y'all were doing it, or they were doing it before we got on here. I don't understand what you're saying.
What I'm saying is we don't have enough information today to approve this. I believe is what I said.
Yeah. Judge, this is a good thing, because this is the one that can help us improve. It's gonna save us some time in the future. It's gonna save us some headaches in the future. And that, like you said, and I'm on the same page as you are, we have to get some answers here. Our side is willing to work with you. We'll give up any amount of our time to work with you.
Well, but why don't both sides work together, is my point. Understand what each side is really saying.
I would like to address Mr. Signey.
Sure.
The reason that that's happening is because there's no court fence. Those people couldn't walk up there if there was a fence or so.
There is a fence.
Yeah.
Please, you're more than welcome to come. We're open to the public. Please, I encourage all of you to come and look. There's a corner fence all along the lake.
It's brand new.
No, it's not. It's
Laura.
rusty old barbed wire.
I did speak to the Corps yesterday,
Yeah.
and they have followed it again to do an investigation of it, because they're not real active.
Judge Roan just recognized me, Ms. Staley. I just wanted to say that there is already a hotel, a boat ramp, and a restaurant on Lake Ray Roberts in our P&Z. And also to say that this is specifically for their special use permit, is all they're asking for, that can be addressed from the site plan that you have. Doesn't have to have all of the other things. That would be when they come ready to build a building. They're being asked to put the cart in front of the horse.
That's,
And one other thing, there are several businesses on County Road 231 operating that don't have commercial permits. If they make money from someone walking to their barn to breed a horse, board a horse, buy a dog, that's a commercial business.
Okay. My point is, we as a commissioners court do not have all the information that we need to approve this today. And that's basically the end of it.
The sad part is, he doesn't have the information we want. We gotta tell him what
Is
we
there
want
a
to
way we
have.
can approve this with contingencies on exactly what you need, so we don't have to spend $100,000 on all these plans for
I think-
people to come back up here and make some more stuff up and throw doubt into the mind?
If you'll wait just a second here. I've already suggested that perhaps the two sides at least,
We'll see,
Come
I think
together.
we're open to that, but they're just
Okay.
against the whole project to begin with.
I don't think, I see an approval right here. I see some people right here would be glad to, and whether, I'm not telling you to agree. I'm just telling you to come together with where you both understand both sides. Then come to the court with all of the information where we can make a decision, okay?
Can I say one last thing? And I
Sure,
understand-
go ahead.
I 100% respect what you're saying, but what you're asking me to do right now is to spend more money to get more, no, hold on.
No, I'm
To
not.
get actual site plans with drainage and everything for a bunch of people that do not want anything to do with this, regardless of what the rights
See
are.
that?
yeah, well, let me,
How
so,
much did this right
So
here
the-
cost?
what?
How much does drawing cost?
About $10,000.
Okay,
Just that.
Okay.
Not the plans, the basic plans.
but you know what? I could take this and make a change here or a note here or something like that, and there you go. Didn't cost $10,000.
I want to address, I want to,
So you're saying that site plan is of value to this court if we.
I think it's a value as a start.
Then I turned in my site plan.
No, it's not. Okay.
so let me address one thing so you don't get confused. Like the drainage and everything doesn't have anything to do with the actual approval. It would have, if the drainage down the road doesn't work, then that would be the issue at that point. It doesn't have anything to do with the approval of moving forward. Does that make sense? But like if you have a drainage issue,
Then why is it being brought up as an issue right now? If it's not relevant to the approval.
it's not bringing
Why
up,
are we hung up on it?
no, I just want to say that it will be required. Does that make sense what I'm saying? It's just like when we do a subdivision, we approve the initial subdivision, but whenever the drainage doesn't work, if
So
you're
yeah,
impacting a
of
neighbor,
course. Of course, the whole site plan, the actual real plans that we're gonna build on would have to come back to the stamped on.
see that's where we don't have any kind of oversight on that. So that's what we want. There's just so
We have
many
no problem
moving
doing that.
parts.
It's, you know.
But what I'll finish my example. So like, if we do initial approval on a subdivision and the engineers initially sign off on it, but then when they get further down the road, they realize, oh, this water is gonna affect Bob Johnson right there, like that has to be It has to be rectified, but it doesn't disapprove the subdivision. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's not about, it's just knowing that we would require those things, which you've already said for the loan, you're gonna have to do those things anyways. And those are gonna be overseen by people that are,
Judge Roman, can I come up and see that site plan, because we've never seen mine.
this is Kathy's original copy.
Okay,
So,
here I am, back here again today. We all showed up to court today to speak, to get a
She made the
resolution
notes
to
on
this
it.
problem
That
here.
matters.
Do you understand everything that's going on today?
Are you pointing at him?
I'm not pointing, I'm, right now, yeah, do you understand everything that's happening?
From the very beginning of this, they haven't given us.
Do you understand everything that we've said today?
We would like some guidelines on for what you need. So you're asking us to meet with an opposing member of our community to come up with
I would,
agreed upon?
I would like for somebody from each side that is, that could get together and say, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Here's what, okay, I understand that. Before we come to court again next time, and we won't have all of this. I don't understand most of what went on today, okay? Do you? Okay, no, that answer was no.
So when we get together with them and then they come back and oppose it all over again with the same stuff?
Then eventually it's gonna be on us, whether they oppose it or not.
Well, yeah, it is on.
It should be on the elected officials.
But it's not on us today, because I don't know enough to make a
Well,
decision
then what do you
today.
need to know enough? That's what we're trying to get at.
Do what?
What else do you need from us
To make a decision.
for you to make a decision?
Well-
Because meeting with them isn't, it's not giving you any more info.
I would like to know what size it's gonna be, for one thing. That's pretty simple, isn't it? We've got a question right back here on what size it's gonna be.
Chris, can
Can
I?
you tell me?
Sounds like the whole hang-up right now.
And then Judge, I think it's August 12th, we're gonna have to go to the P&Z board about a wedding venue that they want to build next. So we can't.
That's not the P and Z, that appeal's coming here.
That'll be here.
We don't know anything.
Sounds like the holdup here, the big issue right now is the site plan. And would it be practical to just take a survey? You could do the drainage study on the survey, draw in the buildings with the square footage and the locations, and that doesn't cost you $100,000.
Yeah, not 100, yeah.
See what I'm talking about? Would that give you an idea of how much?
Yeah, I mean, we had nothing.
But my concern is, we brought this man back 4 or 5 or 6 times. He's trying to do a
He's
business,
talking. I'm sorry.
not on you, Chris,
Huh?
not on you.
Well, And we have actually, I mean, we do have schematic drawings. What I told the P and Z that day is a lot of this, you know, with the original concept drawings of the winery were based on an overall project. For me to tell you exactly what finish is going to be, what materials we're going to use for the parking lot at this point is all really up in the air because I don't have an approval for anything. And so we don't, I can give you basic, you know, we plan for the footprint to be the same, but whether the building has stone walls or, you know, is all tin is up in the air because one thing pays for the other. That's the bottom line with this.
I don't think you care whether it's got stone walls or tin walls, do you?
His
Aren't you
concern
more
is,
concerned about-
But do you care whether it's 14,000 or 16,000 square feet? Does one makes you feel better?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I'm talking about.
And the size. We wanna know
How many people
That's
are
what we
gonna
just
use
said,
this
Diane.
place?
Pay attention.
Okay? At any given time, how many, and what kind of traffic are you gonna have in and out
The
of there?
established winery right now, and they can't tell you how many people are gonna show up every day. To me, that's not
I mean, I lost half my business on Saturday because there was a wreck in Sanger, so I can't guarantee you how many people are gonna show up on a daily basis.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
I'm not even gonna try to argue with you.
Yeah,
Where
so,
we make the line, so it'll just be your family that runs and helps
All right.
Yeah, anyway, we don't have enough, I understand.
Yeah, but I hate if you leave here without some direction.
Yeah.
And Jason,
My
make it,
direction is this. All right, I would like for somebody from both sides just get together and say, we don't know about this. I don't care if it's 2 or 3 of you or 2 or 3 of you or whatever. Ask some questions, get some answers, so that when we come back here again next time, everybody at least is gonna know what we're talking about. We're on the same page and we can make a decision from what is. I don't see anything wrong with that. And I don't plan on you spending $10,000 or anything like that. It doesn't cost you $10,000 to make a pen and ink change on a piece of paper like this. And you're concerned about size of the venue more than anything else. What other major concerns do you have that you would like to talk about? Anybody?
Noise.
Noise, okay.
Lights.
What?
Et cetera, et
Lights.
cetera.
Lights, okay.
Helicopters. We close at 7 o'clock.
I don't think so. What we did this afternoon,
See what I'm talking about? Those are easy, those are things that you can work out together before you come back here again. And we don't have to sit here and have one of these again. All right?
Yep.
And it doesn't cost you anything.
stipulated.
Let me ask you.
You know, other than having to get together, you can do that.
When they bought this property, weren't they notified at the time they acquired the vineyard and the existing, 10,000 square foot home that?
No, that was built, well, we bought the property in 95, the home was built in 2005. The vines were planted in 2010, so what is your question?
That you were told that you could not commercialize that property. Were you not told that? Because on next door, we're throwing messages back and forth, and I don't know who it was that said they were in fact told that you couldn't take it any further than the vineyards that you had and had tasting.
We didn't have the tasting room or the vineyards when the property was bought, so.
Well,
And it was a commercial business, it was a big part before we bought the property. So,
I can't believe we're even going to the point where the 5 of you are gonna vote on this? The 5 of you, right?
Evidently.
Why is it coming down to whether or not it's a 14,000 square foot or a 16,000 foot commercial building? I can't even believe that.
Well, ask your neighbor.
He's not involved. Why would you want a 14,000 foot, but not a 16,000? You don't want that, do you?
There you go.
You don't want that, do you? Diane, you don't want that, do you?
He wants a 2,000 foot.
You don't want that, do you?
16,000 square foot is 0.34 acres.
Look,
So
okay, all right, before this gets out of hand, here again, the size of the building is something that I think the people are concerned about because that could mean a lot more traffic in the area there. And once again, we're spending a lot more time on this than we should. But you're not concerned whether it's a 14,000 or a 16,000. You'd probably rather it was a 2,000 or a 1,500.
He didn't want it at all.
Or at all, but he'd probably settle for if somebody sat down with him and said, look, here's what we have planned right here, and it's not gonna be obtrusive and, okay?
If you open the door for that, then what purpose?
I'm not opening the door for anything. I'm
If it's
asking you,
voted, if it's approved.
I'm asking you people to get together and come up with something that you can perhaps agree on. If you can't, at least come back here with all of the information that we need to make a decision, yes or no.
So,
Yeah, that's fine. My point will be, if this is approved, then what will prevent other approvals of other commercial?
I already said that zoning doesn't set a precedent in the state of Texas.
But it will.
No, it doesn't.
Well, if that's the case, then
It definitely will.
Why is the audience arguing with us?
I don't understand.
Well, that's why are we letting them interact with each other? I mean, we used to have rules of
So
decorum. We'd spend
the-
30 minutes on a subject.
I'm gonna get the criteria for the site plan, only simply because I wanna follow the rules. But we put two sides together that aren't ever gonna agree on this is not gonna do any good. I mean, whether it's a 2,000 or a 14,000, it's still what they need or what they wanna do. The others are not gonna see the need or want to have that. I don't see how that's gonna solve anything.
Okay, but
That's a negative thought. That's
We
a
got-
negative
we-
thought. People
listen.
have got to work together.
we have intelligent people here,
Yes,
okay?
thank you.
We have intelligent people here that can get together and talk things through. That's what we're talking about. You have to be neighbors anyway.
Your Honor, I
Okay.
have invited the Staleys over to our house to cook them dinner. And she rejected my invitation to sit down and talk about this before the last P and Z.
I saw it on next door.
I invited you into our.
I bet she wouldn't again.
That ain't
My
gonna-
concern is, I have to follow the rules, and our rules,
That's right.
approval rules doesn't have anything to do with size. I understand why people want to know what's going on, I totally respect that, so that they can speak against the proposed, but that, it's not one of our criteria.
It sounds like the only thing missing is a site plan now, then how much detail do we want to have, ask the man to give?
Okay. This is it. We will reconvene, we will make a decision at a later date, and we will hopefully have all of the information that we need to make a decision. And as Jason says, we'd like to follow the rules too, okay? We have to follow the rules. We don't have any leeway, all right? So the next time we get together, hopefully we'll have everything that we need. Does anybody in here today say that we had everything that we needed to make a decision? Not even close, okay? And that's any questions?
Your Honor, may I ask
Yes.
what you will be doing in the midst of this while the community is trying to get this situated? What you might do to better educate yourself for the next time? Because I feel like that's what we're left with today, is that you don't know. You don't know what can be done, what can't be done. So we're gonna work on it. What can we ask of you?
Well, I'll probably work with my commissioners, one at a time here, and find out what the rules are myself, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all for your time.
All
Do
right.
you know what you need to bring back?
No, but
I mean, if you are gonna get together, what are you gonna discuss? 'Cause, I mean,
There's no.
y'all come back and tell us the same thing you told us today, we're gonna be in the same shoes.
We've always been open. I've invited all of them to come over. They had questions, they asked me. They chose to use social media outlets to attack me and my character instead. So, but I'm fine. I'm calm. I'm way calmer than my wife at most times. So if anybody wants to talk to me, I'll be happy to share what our overall plan is for that. And then whatever Jason gives me as a directive of what he actually needs for you guys to actually take a vote and make a decision, I'm all for it.
Okay, we're good with, Jason gives them the stuff, they come back with it, we're good with that, right?
As far as that goes, anytime you wish to come to my office and sit down and tell me what the rules are, I'm certainly willing to listen. And that goes for either side, okay? So,
Don't threaten me, I'll bring you lunch.
pardon?
Put our rules together, sir.
I can handle that.
All right.
I won't turn down your invitation.
Okay, good, thank you.
Matt has made a point here.
What's that?
Jason needs to provide Chris what the court expects of a site plan,
Yeah,
period.
exactly. Exactly. How much detail, how much information.
You disagree with that, Jason?
No, but I will say that every single line in these rules states county judge.
Well,
I'm gonna assist and I'm gonna help, but you're gonna be involved in this, Judge.
That's fine. I just got through inviting them to come to my office anytime they want to.
But that, Chris, hopefully that gives you some direction, is you go find out what they expect. Now, I've heard everything from a little drawing up here that we'll just go pencil in to $100,000 investment. So I don't know how you get there, but Jason hopefully can tell you, and because it's not spelled out, I can't imagine that it would have to be elaborate or expensive. But that's just me.
Yeah. Just one last question.
Could we have an opportunity to meet, when we get together to meet your office, Jason's office?
Mine?
A neutral place.
Yeah, you can do that at my office anytime. I've got a little meeting room right next door to mine, right there.
I
We
would
can,
appreciate that.
yeah, let's, you know, no more than 4 or 5 people at a time, I'd say. But anytime you want to, call and make sure I don't have something else scheduled. I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
And one last question before we go any farther. Does anybody here say that we had enough information today to make a decision? You think we did?
According to
My plan for my venue that got built back in 2019 had less than what we provided here today.
Okay.
This is too serious of a situation to run something through quickly.
Okay.
It needs to be researched.
Well, and to her point, you got to understand, as Commissioners Court, we serve the public, okay? We don't serve just enterprises. We don't serve just special groups or anything else. We serve the public. And for us to just cavalierly take what was said today and make a decision in your favor, for instance, would be a slap in the face to our public, I would think. So with that, that's the end of it for today. But come anytime, set it up, we'll do it.
Diane, we also have
We
a
might even
conference
get
room over there if
Jason
you
there.
need it.
I'm sorry?
We also have a conference room over in our office that holds 7, 8,
I just think it'd be
10
good
people.
in a neutral place.
That's up to you guys. I just check with Kathy or Amber, see if ours is open, if the judges is not available.
Thank you guys for your time.
sorry.
That's all right, no problem. No problem. Jason.
Yes, sir.
How much of that property is in the flood zone?
I don't know. That's not my job.
That's right up to the lake.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, shouldn't that be part of the discussion?
Well, I don't know, was it?
then everybody who,
Well, how would we know that?
so there's,
Wasn't in our discussion today.
I would have thought at this point in time, we would have known that. This is my first meeting here.
so there are things that are under the scope of the Commissioners Court, and there are things that are not, and that's not in our scope. And I would think that anybody who lives within 5,000 foot of the lake shore is in the floodplain.
All right, well, shouldn't that be part of this discussion?
Well, then everybody who lives here is gonna flood, everybody who lives in.
Their insurance company and them building it, I mean, that's risk they're taking, that's not on
But the Corps of Engineers, I think, would have something to say about it.
there's a lot of houses that are along there
Building
that,
based on a lake that they built,
yeah.
would they not?
They do.
I would think they would. Well, then, that needs to be part of the decision, I would think.
Okay, to my point,
How many houses along there are sitting in that floodplain?
I have no idea, but, you know, why, no one.
Everybody here in the back row lives closer than they do.
yeah.
I mean, you go through Tioga over there, part of that, what is it, 372's in the floodplain, it gets flooded before, I mean, it's
We
pretty,
just.
that's not
had a
part of
big
our.
flood, we can tell you what happened to the road.
I know,
that
but I
accesses
don't,
that
none of it
property.
equals that.
See, you're helping me make my point, by the way,
What's that?
that we didn't have enough information today, okay?
No, we didn't.
Okay, it's time to move on. Thank you for being here. We will reconvene at after one of our meetings. You bet.
Good to see you.
Precinct 3. Precinct 3.
Diane.
The southwest quadrant.
That's for Longer. No, that's over in precinct 1. All right.
Okay, item number 11, deliberate and consider possible action regarding request by Frederick P. Cummins for special use permit for a new wine production facility at Edge of Lake Vineyard located at 920 County Road 231, Valley View, and there's no action. Item number 12, we're going to open a public hearing regarding replat of lots 1366 and 1367 of Lake Kiowa subdivision in Precinct 2 as requested by Jenny L. Shaddix Cochran and William Cochran. Meeting is open at 11:25. Do we have anybody wishing to speak to this? Going once, going twice. Meeting is closed at 11:26. Item number 14, deliberate and consider possible action regarding replat of lots 1366 and 1367 of Lake Kiowa subdivision in Precinct 2 as requested by Jenny L. Shaddix and William Cochran.
Lake Kiowa P&Z Lake Kiowa POA signed off on it. I make a motion we approve.
Motion, Commissioner Snuggs, that we approve item number 14. Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? There are none. Item 14 passes 5-0. Item 15, open public hearing regarding preservation and restoration of county clerk record archive funds and plan for 2025. Open public hearing at 11:26. Do we have any speakers?
I will speak on it. All right. So this is, of course, an every year thing that I must present this plan to the court for local government code says that the county clerk must submit her archival plan to be approved by Commissioners Court as part of the county's annual budget to adopt the records archive fee and or before any funds can be expended. So y'all should have my plan there. This year there were no new legislative changes. The fees all remain the same. I'll just go over the fees. I don't know if y'all even know they're in my plan, but my official public records, I do $10 archive and $10 record preservation every time a deed is filed. And then I got $1 for vital preservation. And then the records preservation for probate is $25, and for civil is $30, and criminal is $25. And then, like I said during the budget hearing, I did not make any new plans to preserve or archive any records this year because or next year in 25, because my plan this year is not complete yet. And if y'all remember, that preservation plan was to do 12 of my vital record books and all my election books by Scott Merriman, and so it's still in progress. So I don't know when that invoice will come in, or if it'll be this year's budget or next year. So that's why I'm holding off on doing another plan, and it doesn't hurt to build up that money. And then if you look at my letter to the y'all, the in-house, I'm still doing all my in-house projects. Nothing really has changed there. I'm still working on preserving my old probate records by sleeving them in the acid-free sleeves. That's really a slow progress because of elections this year. I really hadn't got to work on that too much. And then my records being uploaded in the net data system, all of it was scanned, but that's what my part-time person does. And of course, that part-time again this year has helped me with a lot of election stuff, so not got to work on it too much. And then we still have one old 1800 birth book that we're still uploading and indexing in the Avenue system. And then my vendor project, of course, I just talked about it, the vital books and the election books. And then I just wanted to let y'all know that the property fraud alert, that also gets paid out of this records fund. that was implemented back in 2019. I wrote that somewhere. We now have over, well, that was last year, so we have over 950 subscribers to that. And I looked the other day, and we've put out 955, actually alerts have gone out to people that have signed up. So I'm just requesting that the court to approve and accept this archival plan as presented. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them.
Any questions for Pam before we close the hearing? Anybody else wish to speak? If not, public hearing is closed at 11:30. Item number 17, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the approval of County Clerk Record Archive funds and plan for 2025.
Move to approve.
Second. Move to approve is Commissioner Arndt. Second is myself. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Passes 5-0. Item number 18, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the approval of awarding RFP 2404 disaster and/or storm damage debris removal and disposal services.
Good morning. So, yes, we put out the RFPs last court, or 2 courts ago, actually, I think. One for removal and one for monitoring. This one specifically was for the removal process. We received 4, well, more than that, but 4 fulfilled all the requirements that were to be judged or scored. And we scored those on cost, expertise and qualifications, FEMA knowledge of the process, and project understanding and methodology for our particular incident. And for the removal process, TFR out of Leander, Texas would be my recommendation. TFR. It's the gentleman's initials, from what I gathered looking at the signature on the letter.
On RFP, we can't do them like we do rock and just accept them all, right?
No.
They're very
You
notable.
negotiate with one, and if you can't meet terms, then you cut off contact and move on to the next one.
And it looks like they've got a price per cubic yard, and then they would charge us by cubic yard and then charge off the equipment of what appears to be maybe a FEMA rate?
Well, once a decision is made, we have to go back to them and ask them to come up with a contract price.
Typically, the next thing would be that they will come up and do a site visit very quickly. We'd take them around the affected areas, show them all the debris. Commissioners would take them down the roads they know that are impacted with debris along the sides of the roads, and they would then generate a estimate for the project, and then it would be up to the Commissioners Court to decide how much you wanted to obligate to that project, if not the total amount. And then when they approach that amount and we see how much debris is actually picked up, then you may re-obligate more money for that. But yeah, that all comes in the next phase once we decide who we want to try to work with. But a very reputable national company. They've worked with FEMA. References all checked out. Everybody was very happy with their work, so feel confident in using them.
And it's general fund, but if it comes off the right of way of the roads, it's out of our road and bridge. Is that correct?
Should be. And then the FEMA money would go back.
Accordingly. Yeah.
Say that again, Shelley.
The precincts where the debris is picked up should pay for it, and then when we're reimbursed,
the FEMA money would go back.
Okay, gotcha.
Stuff coming off the road and not off the private property. I noticed some of them said vehicle removal, and I'm thinking, but there are several vehicles down there that were destroyed, so.
Most of those are gone now, but yes, there were.
But you're looking at this
It
list
could
that talks about vehicle
Oh, yeah.
removal. Well, we hope they don't clean up somebody's junkyard.
Yeah,
down
all of
there.
them, yeah, all of them provided a very, very consistent pricing list throughout, very, very easy to compare them. And yeah, they just, between all of those things were, I think, the best company to use.
But y'all reviewed it and scored it.
So, but what you're saying is debris picked up on the side of the road in my precinct comes out of my precinct budget until we're that'll stop me in my tracks for.
Where, do you want general fund to pick it up?
Hmm?
Do you want general fund to pay for it?
That's what I understood. I mean,
I didn't think it could. I thought it had to come out. I mean, always in the past, it's come out of road and bridge, and we reimburse road and bridge.
I've never been here in the past, but I mean.
We've never done debris before.
Well, yeah, I understand. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
we're
that's true.
million, I mean, I don't know what the number is. If we sit there and,
What department's gonna pay for it?
emergency fund, I don't know. General fund savings, I mean.
But I have to charge it to a
I
department.
understand.
And see, and that's
I
the
don't know
reason-
the best answer to that question, but I'm saying it'll stop me in my tracks from all of my large projects moving forward to do this.
Well, but.
I mean, I've got some
You got some
general,
fund
I
balance
got
money.
some fund balance luckily, but still, I mean,
General
I've
fund-
watched this FEMA reimbursement process for the last, well, however many years I've been here.
General fund can loan road and bridge money.
You know, and I still have a fear that if all the Ts aren't crossed and the Is dotted, that we don't even get reimbursed. Which I know that we have you doing that and TDM helping us and all that, but you know, it's just
Well,
a big fair.
we sent them to Tatum to review.
Of course, you're gonna clean up a bunch of it yourself.
Not this metal and debris and all that.
Well, is this metal in the road though, or is this on somebody's private property?
It's all of the.
Been
all
taken
the
to the
residents
right of
been
way,
asked
that's
to
all we
move
can
it.
pick up.
It's all in my right of way. I mean, and it's, I don't have the equipment to pick it up.
Well, but if it's private sitting in a right of way, that's,
We're not picking private
It-
up, just all on the roadway.
but sitting at the edge of the road.
Right.
In other words,
They have,
my home
it
got-
is from private property. That debris from their houses being demolished or destroyed or
And that to me is in
vegetative,
the,
but it
out of the
is,
general fund for the
we can only
emergency,
take it off
I
the
would
right
think,
of way.
because that's not a true road and bridge, but if it's out here on county road,
If it's my trees, my tree damage, I understand that, but like this is all home.
Again, what department? Non-department, Ray's department, my department? What department do you want it to pay for?
what was your plan?
The precincts?
There's comments all over down there about people they've never even seen before dragging stuff up from, they don't even know where, and throwing it in their pile by the road there. So people are using other people's debris piles along the road there to, I guess there's no way to.
and I hope they wouldn't, but the longer it sits there, the
Yeah,
more that's
longer
gonna
it
happen.
sits there, that's right.
We tried to go out last week and get a pile that's on the FM road that's creating a problem, and people are doing that. They see a pile, they're going and adding to it.
Adding to it.
One look at it, we don't have. the
Pass it off to the
equipment.
state, that's the state's.
Well,
And some of those fields down there that are freshly combined and things like that, and now there's debris all along the fence line.
'Cause that's what they've been-
outside.
If they drag it to the
Yeah.
public right of way and it's a result of this storm,
Yeah.
then it is eligible for reimbursement if we pick it up.
That's right.
And I believe we're gonna eventually get reimbursed, but we're talking, it's just a slow process, I mean.
Well, this is a more localized thing, though, than the floods. I mean, we drug the floods out from 2015 to 2024. In theory,
Yeah, and-
we
yeah, I
won't be
mean-
doing that.
I would just have thought that, you know, some of our general fund could be declared for emergency for that, and then
think there's an emergency line item, knows what she's,
And
I
you
don't have
asking,
an emergency line.
yeah,
That's
you're
what I'm saying.
asking what line, I mean, I'm asking your advice on that, Shelley, if you have any other suggestions other than my precinct. Because there's damage in Adams precinct
Gary's
too, but
precinct.
there's none. I'm
I had some
trading
associated with
I'm
floods.
trading precincts with Gary's what I'm about.
That's what I'm saying.
well, and I go back to the guy, so that's the reason you have a fund balance. People question, well, why you got $1 million in the bank? Well, $1 million may not touch this, you know.
I promise $1 million will pay the initial bills on my cleanup.
Yeah.
I just don't see if it could, especially sitting around waiting on it to come back.
Well, another thing too is I was a little disappointed in Tazwa when asked if they would consider reducing some of their fees because of this. Oh, no, we can't set that precedent.
I don't blame them. I mean, they're already operating on a nonprofit. Right? I mean, that's one way to look at it.
Well, that's one way to look at
They're
it.
not making a profit now, and they cut the rates, and we bring in, you know, 1,500 40-yard dumpsters. I mean, they're gonna be operated at a loss.
Well, it's gonna reduce the number of years service.
Yeah.
Well, let's just hope Grayson never has a new tornado or anything like that.
I would think the board would be fair on that. And
Yeah,
feel
same
same
thing.
thing.
Okay,
Oh.
did we get a motion on that, or what are we doing?
Well, I can figure it out.
You need to know where it's coming from before the motion's made.
Well, we just need a motion to approve engaging this company to
For
bring back their
TFR,
proposal and
And that was the company you recommended?
yes, sir, TFR for debris removal.
move to approve.
We have a motion to approve, Commissioner Hollowell, second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor?
Aye.
And that was, say that RFP,
TFR, Tango
TFR.
Foxtrot Romeo.
Okay. Tango Foxtrot Romeo, I haven't heard that in a long time.
So
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ray.
Sir?
That 18 passes 5-0.
I got a question about it.
Sure.
So now do we have to engage in a contract and bring it back and all that stuff? I mean,
Well, they've got to come up and do an estimate, and then we got to get a contract, and then that's got to get approved, and.
Then we could set a number that we're willing to go fund.
Right. And that would hopefully happen sooner than later. I'll be in touch with them, or we will, and if they can make it happen sooner than next court, then we may be requesting a court sooner than that to get this started.
that was my actual question. People are asking me about timeline, and I'm, pushing the timeline as hard as I can.
I would expect they will be up here pretty quick, and we'll be able to get started with that process.
That meeting tonight is, can we bring that up? That won't make any,
We can mention it, but at this point, we don't
I
have
mean,
any more to.
so it gets out to the citizens anyway. You didn't need that meeting tonight, okay? Okay, thank you, Ray. Item number 19, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the approval of awarding RFP 2405 debris monitoring services.
Yes, sir. So as part of this same process, we have to have a monitoring company to observe and monitor and document all of the debris in the process. And that company, we received 4 replies, 2 of which met all of the requirements to be scored. And Thompson Consulting Services out of Orange, Florida was the best one when we considered cost, experience and qualifications, FEMA knowledge, and understanding and methodology of our particular project. And so I would recommend that we engage in that conversation with them, and again, they'll probably work with TFR on their, how this is all gonna work out, but we'll get in touch with them right away and start that also.
This also come out of the commissioner's budget.
I don't know where that money will come from, sir.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Snuggs, and that was that company once again for the record?
Thompson Consulting Services.
Thompson Consulting Services.
I guess that
In monitoring. Go ahead, Gary.
we all get any input. I mean, and it may be necessary, but it looks like they are management heavy. I don't know if you get any input on that, but the first 3 lines are supervisory, lines, then monitors, and then there's another supervisor, I mean, and that just may be the nature of the beast, but it looks like they got a whole lot of management involved.
If you look through the response, though, both companies were both very significantly staffed, and I don't see that as a bad thing. Their prices were better than the other one. They're a little more experienced, I felt, a little more work in the area than others, but I didn't see any issues with any of that.
It just like a lot of it built in, $130 an hour for the project manager, and then the grant specialist, $100 an hour. Then you got a program manager, $65 an hour.
Those aren't built in, that's just their prices. That doesn't mean that person's gonna work.
Right.
Okay, just like equipment then. Works just like equipment.
Right, yeah, that's what my point was. I took all that into consideration, but looking at the most used and most build stuff and looking at those prices, but at any rate, they were better than the other one in all respects. Sir?
Lesser of the evils.
Gotta pay it.
Okay, we have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs.
I'll second it, Judge.
Second, Commissioner Hollowell. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Item 19 passes 5-0. Item number 20, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the emergency disaster declaration and all associated executive orders.
I don't have any recommended changes at this time.
Okay.
I would like to invite you to come take a drive very soon. Because I love you.
This ain't looking good for me, I can tell.
I just want you to see all these piles.
Oh, no, I don't. You ain't heard me take a position one way or another.
No,
I just know what we've done in the past.
I know, I wanted to see, you to see how it's unfolded. It's just crazy.
I'm down here every Thursday and it gets worse.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better. Okay, item number 20 is no action. Thank you. Item number 21 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding a temporary office space for Texas Division of Emergency Management, County Liaison Officer at 305 South Chestnut Street, old EMS office.
Yes, sir. The region out of Sherman has hired a new county liaison officer for the Division of Emergency Management that will be assigned in Cooke County. And they requested that we, if possible, find at least some place with a bathroom and environmental, so they could have a place to sit down with their laptop and do whatever work they need to do. During the week, we do have space there in the old EMS where the Sea Cadet offices are, that all they need is Wi-Fi and a bathroom, and we've got that. And so when they needed to be in an office type environment, they could use that. They can just as easily work out of their truck when they need to or work from home, so it's not going to be a 9 to 5 everyday presence and a dedicated spot like that, but for temporarily it would be a place that they could use, and that would be the request.
You're the only other one that uses that space, aren't you?
That end, yes, sir.
Not going to affect 4-HR Sea Cadets?
No, sir. That'll be, yeah, that's part of the stipulation, certainly, and they know that all that comes first, but there shouldn't be any issues with that.
Is this individual replacing somebody, or is this the individual
This,
coming up here to help us?
she's actually down in San Ann at State College, I believe, being trained on and being worked on the incident management team down there from Hurricane Beryl, and can't be here today, but I will bring her to court very soon and introduce her. It's Ashna Patel, a recent graduate from A&M.
But she's replacing Greg.
Yes.
To answer your question.
Okay, that's who it is. All right.
I'll make the motion that we allow the Emergency Management County Liaison Officer temporary office space at the old EMS office Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snuggs, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. 21 passes 5-0. 22, deliberate and consider possible action regarding replacing former treasurer Patty Brennan with current treasurer Anita Fangman as a Cooke County investment officer.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve is Commissioner Hart.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wasn't that easy? Item number 22 passes 5-0, and you're working with Patty real close on that, aren't you, as far as?
Yes, and I'll have to go to school for that too.
Yeah, right. Okay, thank you very much, Anita. Item number 23, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the 2025 holiday schedule. Have you all had a chance to look at it?
The same as 24.
I don't know.
Pretty much.
Well, Christmas fell a little bit different in 24.
It's just the way the
than it
days
was in
fell.
25, But other than that, yes.
We
Uh,
haven't
Same
added it.
days.
That is something to discuss just a little bit. The holiday is Christmas Eve and Christmas, which is on a Thursday, which means we come back on a Friday, then before the weekend. And that prevents a 4-day weekend.
So do you want to do 25th and 26th?
We ever done that before?
I don't know. I'm just asking a
I'm just
question.
asking- I'm
You know,
asking-
I'm just good
I'm
for
asking
asking a
you.
question.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
People, if they're gonna travel, would probably appreciate the 4 days, but some folks celebrate Christmas Eve.
And then some people just take a vacation day, but then that limits offices to low staff.
Yeah, it's up to y'all.
Shelley, do you recall if that's ever been an issue? It takes like 8 years for this to come around.
As long as I've been here, it's been the 24th and 25th. Unless it was a
Split.
weekend, then it was the Friday and the Monday or whatever.
Yeah, it just seems kind of cold to just work until 5 o'clock on Christmas Eve and then
Yeah, no.
wake up and open up all your presents and see what Santa brought.
You gotta think about the general public gonna be working on the 26th, we're all closed.
Yeah, that is another thing.
I'm
That's a
good.
good point.
Y'all need a motion, leave it like it is and move on? Motion to leave it like it is.
Okay, Commissioner Hollowell proposes that, or makes the motion that we adopt the printed Cooke County, the proposed Cooke County holiday schedule. Do I hear a second? Second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. 23 passes 5-0. All right, item number 24, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the FY25 budget.
When's our deadline? August the
15th.
15th?
What has to be done by August 15th?
You can pass the proposed budget.
I haven't seen the
Sent you an
markups. I haven't seen the markups from our first one.
Say again?
I haven't seen the markups from that first budget.
I sent you a budget of no raise and 3% raise with no.
But you had sent it to the court. Oh. Are we?
Y'all all got it, and I got it, I'm pretty sure.
With no
I got-
acts in
You
it.
sent it to the court?
She did. I sent it to you.
Chelsea sent, that's what it
Did Chelsea send it?
That might be my fault. I thought when you sent it to me, you also sent it to them separately.
No,
Then that's on you. You don't.
Oh,
That is my fault.
that was right before I was,
It was. It was, right before you went on vacation. I just assumed,
No.
which is my fault, but I got it and y'all got it.
Because it
separately.
didn't come from me, it comes from,
So that's.
When are we,
y'all had nothing.
when are we getting back together to talk about the budget in depth?
We could in a week. We're gonna have a commissioner's court in a week for what,
Don't miss all the fun.
Yeah, it's just getting
what
good.
are you running off for?
You're supposed to go to executive, aren't you?
Well, after we hash all this out, you know,
I was giving you a hard time, Richard.
We could next week if the commissioner so desired to. Otherwise, it's 3 weeks before the next court.
I'm all for sooner than later.
Next week.
That would be fine if it's fine with everybody else.
Why don't we, no action this one here and then bring that back. It's
On Monday, the 29th.
Monday, the 29th. Is that okay with that?
if somebody's getting it.
Is that okay with you, Gary?
Yeah, Monday at 10, 9, what do y'all want to do? I guess 10 for Shelley's.
Yeah.
Kind of like to have her.
Okay,
I'm
Gary.
not gonna be here on, well, I need to look. Never mind.
We need you, Shelley.
We have mail.
Did you find that, Shelley?
I'll be
Everything
here.
You will, okay. If that's all right with you guys, then we'll go ahead and, no action 24, and we'll bring it back up as an agenda item next Monday, 29th.
Shelley, you know what kind of increase?
With
it
that-
was? Did you put what kind of increase there was on those? You just sent them to us. You know what kind of increase over last year's?
I think it says in the body of the email and we're in the tower.
Okay. I just hit the top.
Item number 25, executive session in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Codes, annotated consultation with attorney regarding proposed actions and advice to the court, real property issues, contract being negotiated, or any personal matters.
Alright. Are we all still sitting in here?
executive session at 12:31. Item number 26, deliberate and consider possible action regarding consultation with attorney regarding proposed actions and advice to the court, real property, contracts being negotiated, or any personnel matters. No action. Item number 27.
Motion.
Motion, Commissioner Snuggs.
Did you speak?
I did.
That was quiet.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Art. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Item number 27 passes 5-0.
I thought y'all had some mental telepathy going on there.
No, I spoke.
I heard him.
12:31.